Good night, everybody. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a couple of cuckoos. This Harem anime just ended a couple months ago, so I thought I should watch and review it while some people are still talking about it. And after watching it, it's fine. Not bad, not great, just very, very okay. I give it a very light recommendation and only recommend it to those like me who run out of good harems to watch. And I should probably explain why that is, so without further ado, it's Morbin time. So the series begins in a hospital where a mother just gave birth to a girl. After that, the intro by Skrillex plays and we fast forward to the present. Here we get introduced to Nagi, who's a black-haired high school boy that's super smart and studies a lot so he can support his poor family. I know I've seen this before, but I can't quite put my penis on it. Anyway, not only do we see Nagi, but we see his parents and his nice sexy slut of a sister Sachi. This might be hard to tell, but she actually has a crush on Nagi and wants to stick his quote-unquote popsicle in her mouth. Anyway, Nagi is getting ready to leave because he has to go to a restaurant and meet up with his parents. Now you're probably saying, now wait a minute, hold up. Why would he be meeting up with his parents? Aren't his parents already there with him? And to answer that question, yes. But technically, no. You see, these people might be his parents since they've raised him for 17 years now, but they aren't his biological parents. Apparently, when Nagi was born, he and someone else's child were switched at birth. So he and someone else have been living with the wrong family for their entire lives. Also, more importantly, this other child that was switched was a girl, so that raises a bunch of questions. First off, in the opening scene, we see that Nagi's parents are holding and looking at their actual child, which again is a girl with light hair. So if they've already seen what their child, and again, more importantly, daughter looks like, then how the fuck do they mistake their daughter for someone else's son? That makes absolutely no sense. Later in the series, it's revealed that Nagi's biological parents did switch him on purpose for whatever reason. However, it still doesn't explain how his non-biological parents managed to fuck up this badly. I'm going to assume that they knew about Nagi being switched, otherwise this makes no sense. Now, what makes this so much worse is that there's an easy solution to this problem, which is having Sachi and the other girl be switched instead. You just need to swap her and Nagi's birthdays around since she's a year younger than him. At least this would make a lot more sense since they're both girls and they even look alike too. Anyway, that's the main selling point of Cuckoos, and that's what makes the series unique. It's a really stupid premise, but also interesting in how stupid and over the top it is. Getting back to the episode though, Nagi is walking around town and sees a girl who's about to jump off a bridge. He tries to save her, but oh my god! Laughing out loud, just kidding, he stops her even though she was only doing it as a joke. After that, she tells him that her name is Erica, not to be mistaken with Etika, and she also explains that she's a famous idol on Instagram. She then tells Nagi that he's now her boyfriend because it turns out that she's actually engaged. So the two of them dick around, they go clothes shopping, and then...
Here, now smile and look like you're having a lit-ass time.
A lit what?
Later some come, but then Nagi teaches them a lesson. So after all of that, Nagi finally goes to the restaurant to meet with his biological parents. When he gets there, they drop an atomic bomb on him and tell him that he's now engaged to their daughter, who just so happens to be... What the fuck? Yep, if it wasn't that obvious, Erica just so happened to be the girl that Nagi was switched with at birth. And now the two of them are engaged because it be how it do. After this, the final scene introduces us to the last girl of the series, Hiro. She's the smartest girl in her grade and Nagi is the second, so he wants to beat her on all her tests and then suck on her delicious breasts. And with that, the first episode ends, and it was not half bad. Sure, it has its problems, such as the whole birth switching thing making no sense at all, but at least it's a pretty unique concept for a series, so I can let it slide. There's also multiple things here that can clearly be seen in other Harem series. First off is Nagi himself, who just feels like a Yuga clone from We Never Learn, while also looking way too similar to Futaro and Mukai from Girlfriend. Nagi is a super duper smart high school boy who wants to get a good job in order to help his family. There's also Erika forcing Nagi to become her fake boyfriend, which is something that's been seen in other harems such as Orishura, Rent-a-Girlfriend, and Nisekoi. Finally, there's also Erika and Nagi becoming engaged too, which is something that can be found in Ranma and Mermaid. Now, even though Cuckoos is reusing ideas that can be seen in other harems, it at least tries to do something different with them. With Nagi, although he is very similar to Yuga, he isn't exactly the same. One of the reasons he studies is because he wants to help support his poor family, but he also mainly wants to do this because he wants to get inside Hiro's pants. Erika and Nagi being fake lovers is a cliche trope at this point, but it only lasts for half an episode, so I don't really mind it. It might be a big part of this episode, but it isn't a big part of the series at all. The two of them becoming engaged is also done a bit differently compared to Ranma and Mermaid. In Ranma, Akane and Ranma are engaged and both their fathers are forcing them to get married even though they almost never get along. In Mermaid, Sun is forced to become engaged to Nagasumi due to mermaid law, otherwise she has to kill herself. There's also the fact that Sun's father is strongly against this and always tries to kill Nagasumi because he's a fucking asshole. I'm going to rape you! In Cuckoos, both Erika and Nagi's parents want them to get married, but they aren't forcing them to. Both Erika and Nagi are against the engagement, and it doesn't really matter if they're engaged or not. Nagi wants to slurp the shit out of Hiro's intelligent butthole, and Erika doesn't really want to marry Nagi, or at least not at first. Hell, even in the last episode, both parents outright say that the two of them don't have to get married if they don't want to. So what's the point of them being engaged if no one really cares? Now I know it's obvious, have the two main characters be engaged and then fall in love trope, but there's no point for them to be engaged since they don't have to. I guess to give credit where credit is due, it is different, but that doesn't necessarily make it good. Now I kind of enjoy the fact that this, along with the rest of the show, is sort of chill and doesn't have much stakes or a plot. That's what the mask is! But at the same time, it's kind of a bit too relaxing and lacking in terms of stakes and plot. There is a plot, which is for Nagi to choose one of the girls, but that's clearly the end goal for the series. There are other plot lines, such as Nagi trying to beat Hiro in more tests, so that way she'll go out with him. There's also the fact that Nagi also has a biological brother, which is revealed later on. But these plot lines aren't focused on that much, and a lot of the series just has its cast sticking around and doing various things. A good portion of these episodes aren't filler per se. There are developments that happen, but they're very minor and don't impact the following episodes that much. One complaint a lot of people have with the anime is that the second half is notably weaker than the first. And to that, I do agree that the second half isn't as good as the first, but it's still fine. It's mainly just disappointing and could have been a lot better. Like I said, the series is very light when it comes to its plot, but at least there were actual things that happened in the first 12-ish episodes. Nagi and Erika move into one of her father's spare houses. Nagi confesses to Hiro, and now he has to beat her 10 more times in order for her to go out with him. Erika transfers into Nagi's school, and Nagi starts studying with Hiro every morning at school. Sachi then moves in with Nagi and Erika, and we get teased about Nagi's biological brother at the end of episode 10. Again, most of this stuff isn't that important, but at least something new is happening and developing in the series. What really happens in the second half of the anime? Nagi severely underperforms on a test because he's distracted over loving all three girls. Hiro finds out that Nagi and Erika were switched at birth and are now engaged. Sachi decides that she's going to attend Nagi's school next year once she enters high school. Everyone goes to one of Erika's vacation homes. Nagi and Erika think her brother Sosuke is there, but they don't find him, so nothing everything comes from it. That's pretty much all of what happens in the second half of the anime, and yeah, it's nothing really exciting. That being said, the first half wasn't filled with cool and exciting developments in every episode either. I understand why some people don't like or even got bored by the second half, but you have to realize the first half wasn't much better. Like, yeah, I'll agree that the second half is worse, but not by a whole lot. The only thing I really didn't like was its final episode, which was very disappointing. And by the way, I went into the last episode not expecting much, so if I was still disappointed, then that's a problem. All that really happens is that Erika, Sachi, and Nagi celebrate their father's birthday, and their parents tell them that they don't care if they don't marry each other. Erika then gets the suds, everyone takes care of her, and that's it. Yep, that's a pretty shitty last episode, alright. I understand that the manga is still ongoing, but even so, I'm sure you could have picked a much better chapter to end the anime on than this. Anyway, that's about all I have to say about Cuckoo's plot. It does reuse some ideas from other harems, such as having an emphasis on studying, which just reminds me of We Never Learn and Quits. But most of the ideas it reuses, it at least tries to do something new or different with it. Bruh. Nigga. That's why I'm fine with Cuckoo's doing this, unlike an Orishora, where it's just too similar to other harems. Plus, Cuckoo's has a really unique main premise, which Orishora didn't really have. Either way though, the concept is really cool, but the plot itself is not so great. It's fine. It's very slow and laid back, which I'm fine with, but I still think it needed a bit more going on throughout its run. Also, this is a 24 episode anime, so there's a lot of room to work with here. You know how many 12 episode harems could have been better if they had gotten 24 episodes instead of 12? A good amount of them, which is why it's very frustrating that one of the few harems to get a full 24 episode run turns out to be one that doesn't make good use of its runtime. Anyway, I am disappointed with Cuckoo's plot, but it's still overall okay. That being said, I think it's time to move on to its epic gamer cast of characters.
Throwing flashbang.
Cuckoo's cast is unique to say the least. Overall, it's fine, but let's start off with Nagi. He's tolerable, I guess. I don't hate him, and I actually don't even dislike him. He's generic, and again, just feels like Yuga from We Never Learn, except with very minor differences. He's pretty good at cooking. He takes studying very seriously, since he also wants to beat Hiro and lick the piss out of her vagina. But besides that, he worries and cries about a bunch of shit. He's wimpy. He acts like a typical harem protagonist. That being said, he isn't bad, but he certainly isn't good or decent either. If he was less wimpy and did some Chad things like getting drunk with Hiro, then he might have been okay. Besides Nagi, there's the girls, and oddly enough, there's only 3 of them, which is very, very rare to see in harems, or at least ones that are labeled as ones. Torador is technically a harem since all 3 girls love Ryuji, but everyone just refers to it as a romance instead. Like, I don't get it. Just because it doesn't feel or act like a typical harem doesn't mean it isn't one. But whatever, I'll get around to talking about one of my favorite anime another day. Getting back to Cuckoo's, it is one of the extremely few harems to have only 3 girls in it. Typically in harems, there are at least 4 girls, even though you only need 3 for one to count as a harem. But here, there's only 3, which is also more surprising considering again that this is a 24 episode anime. Now in the manga, apparently that one girl who you see in the picture in the very last episode is Nagi's childhood friend, and she obviously likes him. So that's pretty disappointing since it takes away from some of the uniqueness the series had going for it. But that's the manga and this is the anime, so at the very least the anime does maintain that uniqueness of having 3 girls instead of 4 or more like most harems do. And as for the girls, they're, well, okay. My main issue with them is that even though there are only 3 of them, they're all too similar to each other. There's something that sets each of them apart from each other, but in terms of personality, they're all fairly similar. None of them are batshit insane over Nagi, and none of them are bitchy tsunderes either. They're all just normal, I guess, which again, is unique, but it doesn't make me care for them as much as I should, since since they're so similar. But I'm getting ahead of myself because it's now time to start the FNAF roleplay waifu war. It's coming vor time.
Number 3.
Sachi Umino. Sachi is Nagi's sister since she grew up with him for 16 years, but biologically she isn't. So if the two of them wanted to act funky together, then they could and it would still be legal. Sachi can be a bit bitchy at times, but then again, so can Erika. But they are biologically sisters, so that does make sense. Sachi wants to fuck Nagi, but because their relationship is so weird, she's not sure she'll be able to. She does get jealous whenever he hangs out with Erika and Hori, and that's about it, and I want to nibble on her clit.
Do you have Instagram?
Erika Amano. Erika is the main heroine of the series. She's engaged to Nagi. She wants to marry him, but she still hasn't told him because my name Jeff. She's a famous hipstagrammer who posts nudes of herself. She's pretty dumb, she's pretty rich, and also pretty thick. And, that's really it.
He was number 21.
Hiro Sagawa. Taking the numero uno spot is Hiro. She's the smartest girl in her grade and is also Nagi's rival. Ever since the beginning of the series, she started to fall for Nagi, although she probably already liked him or was at least interested in him before. She wants to be with him but can't since her parents are assholes and want her to take over the shrine when she gets older. Now, if I was Nagi, I would take some of my biological father's money, take Hiro away, fuck her brains out, and live a happy, peaceful life. But Nagi wouldn't do that because he's a pussy. Hiro is best girl though, and even though it's not by a lot, she's still my favorite. I like that later on we see that she isn't perfect, wants to act up and make mistakes. She wants to do things that she normally wouldn't be able to do, and I wish we got to see more of this from her. But yeah, that was Cuckoo's waifu war. I know it was pretty short and not very exciting, but that's because all the girls are just okay and there isn't much to say about them. Let me know who your favorite is in the comment section, even though you're wrong if it's not Hiro.
I don't.
The anime was animated by Synergy SP and Shin-Ai Animation, and both of them have made some decent and good shows, but none of them are known for having great or impressive animation. As for Cuckoos, it doesn't look good overall. It's bad, not terrible, but clearly below average. Characters can be off model or just not look right, but it's nothing awful. The problem is that the designs themselves are very, very plain and basic. These are very generic and standard character designs. I'm sure in a couple years from now I could easily mistake some of the girls from being in a different series since their designs are so basic and bland. And like I've already said earlier, Nagi's design is way too generic and he just looks like Mukai and Futaro's bastard child. As for its animation, it's very standard. It's better than its character designs, but that's not really saying much. If I had to say something positive about its art, it's that there are a decent amount of good expressions in the show. A good amount of them got some chuckles out of me, but it's nowhere near as good as the expressions in other series like Girlfriend, Girlfriend. The expressions were so stupid in it that I literally made the thumbnail a collage of all the dumb faces Mukai made. Speaking of Girlfriend, Girlfriend, I know I'm months late on this, but I apparently missed that season 2 got announced. So whenever that comes out, you can expect a review on it. Anyway, the expressions in Cuckoos are funny, but not hilarious. The only other thing worth noting is, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the water effects. For whatever reason, some of the water effects in the show look really damn good. It might just be that in comparison to the rest of the show it looks so great, but I don't know. At the very least, it made me say,
hey, that's pretty good.
I don't think I can hold it.
Rock and red.
Cuckoo soundtrack is pretty average. Unfortunately, none of the tracks were available on YouTube for me to listen to, so I'm just going off memory here. I'm sure most of the tracks were just average. The only one that stood out was one where, I'm not joking, had an MLG air horn in it.
We're gonna make a killing on this. Are they betting on me?
Yeah, That's horrendous, but also epic, so I like it. As for its OPs, they're fine. I always ended up skipping them. They weren't bad, but I didn't really care for them. The only thing I noticed was this in the first opening.
Hit or miss.
Its first ending theme is actually good, and its second is alright too. Besides its soundtrack, there's also its English dub, which is interesting to say the least. It's a typical dub, meaning it's good, far from great, but still good. That being said, this is a 2022 English dub, meaning there's some cringe in it, and some of it is, well, just take a listen.
What's up, besties? You ready? This trip is gonna be lit!
Oh man, this is definitely gonna be the one!
Hashtag, ooh! The first time I saw Erika on social media, my heart went kaboom inside my chest! I smashed that like button.
Also, what the fuck is this voice?
I must admit, I'm impressed that you're attempting to challenge our hero.
Well, that was a couple of cucks, and it was very, very okay. It's not meh, but it's not good either. It's decent and has just enough things in it that I like where I can say I overall enjoyed it. It has its issues for sure. For a 24-episode Harem anime, it's pretty disappointing. Its plot is lacking, its characters are just okay, and its last episode was extremely weak. That being said, it's still alright.
What do you mean, it alright?
Like I said at the start of the video, I give it a very light recommendation and only recommend it to those like me who run out of good harems to watch. And with that, I'm giving a couple of cucks a 6.19 out of 10. Well, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, then you can leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell, or even support me on Patreon. Link in the description. Also, if you check the descriptions of my videos, you'd notice that the review number is listed on all of them. And if you couldn't tell, we're reaching a milestone soon, which is my 50th video. I have something special planned, so look forward to it. It's most likely going to be one of my longer videos and will probably be around an hour long. But either way, look forward to seeing that soon. It'll be a doozy, alright. Here's a hint for what it'll be.
These nuts. Got him! Got him!